After our breakup, my girlfriend claimed she is pregnant with my baby and demanded co-parenting. I sent proof I was sterile. Her next message came from a lawyer, and that was when my revenge truly began. Hello Reddit I+ here. I never thought I would be the kind of person who kept screenshots of conversations like trophies, but after what she did to me, those screenshots became my armor. It started 6 weeks after the breakup. 6 quiet weeks where I was finally sleeping again. 6 weeks where I was rebuilding my life after 2 years with a woman who thrived on chaos and called it passion. Then, one Tuesday at 7:13 a.m., my phone buzzed. A single message. I'm pregnant. It's yours. I remember staring at the screen while my coffee went cold in my hand. Not because I was shocked, because I knew it was impossible. 3 years earlier, after a medical scare, I had gone through a series of tests. The final diagnosis was gentle but brutal. Sterile. Not low chance, not unlikely. Completely sterile. A fact I had told her early in our relationship. A fact she once cried about and said she accepted. So when she told me she was carrying my child, something in me didn't panic. It went quiet. The kind of quiet that comes before a storm. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I pulled out the old folder on my laptop, scanned lab results, doctor's notes, official paperwork with dates, signatures, and medical stamps. I took screenshots. Then I replied with one sentence. That's impossible. I'm sterile. Here's the proof. Attached everything. Then I turned my phone face down and went to work. For 3 hours, nothing happened. No typing bubble. No angry reply. No denial. Just silence. At lunch, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was not from her. It was from an unknown number. This is attorney Michael Harris, representing Ms. K. Please do not contact my client directly. All further communication should go through my office. And right below that, a formal notice requesting financial support and a co-parenting agreement. I laughed. Not a nervous laugh, not a scared laugh, a slow, disbelieving laugh that made people in the break room stare. She had really done it. She had gone to a lawyer with a story so fragile that a single medical file could shatter it. And suddenly, I realized something. This wasn't about a baby. This was about money, control, revenge for leaving her. And I understood something else. She didn't know how much I knew. Let me tell you something about my ex. She was brilliant at playing victim. In every story she told, someone else was always the villain. Her ex before me was abusive. Her boss was toxic. Her friends were jealous. And I, near the end, became emotionally distant and afraid of commitment. In reality, I left because I caught her lying about small things. Where she went, who she met, why her phone was always face down. Nothing I could prove, but enough to tell me that staying would destroy me slowly. So now, here she was, 6 weeks later, claiming I was the father of a child that biologically could not exist, and bringing a lawyer into it. That was the moment my fear disappeared. Because lies do not survive paperwork, I replied to the lawyer calmly. I attached my medical records. I explained the timeline. I asked one simple question. Before we proceed, has your client identified any other possible fathers? 2 days passed, then 3, then 4. On the 5th day, the lawyer replied. Short, formal, careful. Thank you for the documentation. We will review and get back to you. That was when curiosity turned into suspicion. Because if she truly believed the baby was mine, there would have been outrage, threats, accusations. Instead, there was delay, which usually means someone is scrambling to fix a story. So I did something I probably should not admit proudly. I started looking, not hacking, not spying, just observing. Social media, public posts, tagged photos, comments. And that was when I noticed something strange. 3 months before our breakup, there was a new name appearing again and again in her comments. A man she claimed was just a coworker, always reacting, always inside jokes, always present. And then I remembered something. The last month of our relationship, she had suddenly started going out more. Late meetings, weekend work events, phone always on silent. At the time, I thought she was pulling away emotionally. Now I saw the pattern clearly. The baby was real, just not mine. And suddenly, the story changed in my head. She was not trying to trap me into fatherhood. She was trying to replace someone else. A week later, the lawyer wrote again. This time, different tone. Given the medical documentation, we request a DNA test to conclusively establish paternity. I smiled. Because this was where the trap closed, I agreed immediately. We scheduled the test. Not at a private clinic she chose. At a certified lab I selected. with chain of custody, legal supervision, no shortcuts. The day of the test, I saw her for the first time in 2 months. She looked different, tired. Not angry, not confident, scared. She barely met my eyes. The nurse took my sample, then hers. And as we waited in the hallway, she suddenly spoke. Quiet, almost pleading. You don't have to make this hard. I looked at her calmly. You already did. 2 weeks later, the results came. 0% probability. Not inconclusive, not questionable. Absolute exclusion. I was not the father. Biologically impossible. The lawyer sent a polite apology. Informed me the claim was withdrawn. No more requests, no more contact. Case closed. Or so I thought. 3 days later, my phone buzzed again. From her. A long message. No greeting, no apology. Just panic. She admitted everything. The baby was from a man she had been seeing before we broke up. He had promised to be there, then disappeared. Blocked her, changed jobs, left town, and now she was alone, pregnant, terrified, and facing the reality that she had tried to legally force a man who could not even have children to become a father. Her final line was the one that stuck with me. I thought you were the only one who would stay. And in that moment, something strange happened. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt clarity, because I finally understood the person I had been with. She didn't love me. She loved stability. And when stability vanished, she tried to build it on a lie. Most people would block and move on. I almost did. But then I remembered something important. She had not only lied to me, she had tried to manipulate the legal system, to take my money, my future, my identity, and I realized, if she did this to me, she could do it to someone else. So I didn't respond emotionally. I responded carefully. I forwarded her confession to the lawyer and asked one question. Is this considered attempted fraud? 2 days later, the lawyer called me directly. He was no longer calm, no longer neutral. He was concerned, because her messages, combined with the false claim, created a legal problem for her. A serious one. False paternity claims. Intent to obtain financial support under false pretenses. Potential criminal consequences. I did not push for charges, but I did allow the documentation to remain in the record. And I asked for one thing. A formal statement withdrawing all claims and acknowledging the false accusation. Signed, filed, permanent. Months passed. Life returned to normal. I dated again. Slowly. Carefully. And then, one evening, out of curiosity, I checked her profile. She had moved back in with her parents. No photos. No updates. And one comment from an old friend stood out. Hope you're doing okay after everything that happened. I never replied. I never reached out. Because the truth had already done what revenge never could. It had followed her, quietly, relentlessly, into every future conversation, every explanation, every new relationship. Here is the lesson I learned. Lies are heavy. You can carry them for a while, but eventually they collapse under their own weight. She tried to turn my weakness into her safety net. She tried to rewrite biology, rewrite law, rewrite truth, and in the end, the only thing she proved was this. You cannot build a future on a story that cannot survive evidence, and the strangest part? The revenge was never something I planned. It was simply the moment I stopped protecting her from her own choices and let reality do the rest.